think you really underscore what is the hardest part, or the most elusive part of working with influencers in marketing. And I think that I believe in influencer marketing, but I think 90% of it is entirely ineffective and just a total waste of money. But what it comes down to is, like, marketing has always been one thing. Like, how do you get your product, your message in front of people, in front of eyeballs? And 10 years ago, if it was just television, I think it's very easy to assess the value of being on TV. If you're on football, here's your demo, here's who you're reaching, here's exactly how you're going to reach them, here's your slot, go for it. But the difference between that and influencer marketing is you're entrusting your brand, your message to an individual. And this idea of influencer, which is just such a fucking bad word, this idea of an influencer is so new that you're talking about an entirely new generation of people with huge loudspeakers that are arguably more effective than that 30-second slot on television. So connecting those dots and assessing that value and understanding what a person's true influence is extremely difficult. And I think that difficulty is only muddled or furthered by the fact that the only thing objective that you can look at are raw numbers. How many views, how many opens, how many followers. And I think all of that is wildly misguided. Some of my most regarded ad influencer work that I ever did, which is still had budgets of multiples of what huge influencers are making today. I was doing that when I was a very small YouTuber, relatively, when I had a couple 100,000 subscribers, when I was the same thing as like my teenage son's friends at high school. And it's because of the way I was communicating a message. And that's what brands look to. But that was 5 years ago. And now, sort of via this attempted institutionalization that you're describing, which I think some companies are really actively working hard to figure out, including talent agencies that are trying to sell their influencers, all they have to present are the numbers. And you do that, and you might get the numbers, but the actual return is something much more vague. I think it's much harder to assess the actual value.
So you can't automate authenticity, is what I'm hearing.
Well, I think that the entire idea of influencer marketing is in its infancy. And I think the rush to accomplish what you're suggesting is extremely dangerous. Because if so, then Kim Kardashian with her 40 million or whatever she has tremendous influence. I don't disregard anything she does. But
yeah,
40,
she couldn't make it, so
40. She's at home. 40 million Twitter followers. Like, okay, so 40 million. That's worth a lot of money. How much engagement is there around something like that? Mm-hmm. But you have a young girl in the Midwest who has a passionate following on YouTube, and she's talking to 20,000 people a day that are really listening to her for windows of 10 and 15-minute long videos. And what is the value of that? And all you have objectively is to look at 10,000 versus 40 million. That one's worth more. But at the end of the day, who's communicating your message in a more effective way? And I think that, I don't know the answer, but I think that is part of the problem in trying to figure out a formula to actually equate value and ROI attached to influencer marketing.